Welcome back, everybody, to the Cleveland Cavaliers MyNBA series here on NBA 2K21 for the PlayStation 5. As today, the regular season here in year number 2 has come to a close, and obviously our Cavs are not in the postseason. We are 23-59, which was the second worst record in the NBA. So we're going to cover everything before the draft today. So we're going to have a season recap. We're going to go over the playoffs. We're going to do everything in the offseason before the draft. So that includes retirement, staff signings, draft combine, and most importantly, the NBA draft lottery. And obviously, we've had an extensive history on this channel with bad draft lottery luck. So we'll see if that holds up tonight or if we finally get some good luck. Remember, we own both the Lakers and Pelicans picks along with our own. So we have two lottery selections this year. The second projected pick and I believe the 12th projected pick from the Lakers. So we've got quite the opportunity to make some damage. Let's do a little season recap here. Go over the numbers, starting with Colin Sexton. He had a good year and he certainly improved throughout the season statistically. He is a free agent at the end of the year. Do we want to bring him back? That's something we're going to have to assess in the offseason, and I would like for him to return, but he's not a superstar or anything, so I'm not just going to be handing him a max contract with ease, but he is a player I would like to retain. Obi Toppin, his numbers went down a little bit this year, but his efficiencies from the field and from three went noticeably up, so I do think this is a successful season for Toppin. Cedric Garrett, our top draft pick, had a great rookie year, averaging 14.5 points, 5.2 rebounds, 5.7 assists. He finished second in the Rookie of the Year race behind Cassius Calvin, who was the number 1 overall pick by the Indiana Pacers. So Garrett is certainly someone who is going to be a big piece of our future. The question is what position, because he has the playmaking ability of a point guard. A quiet but very solid 14 points per game for Kevin Porter Jr. and only 26 minutes per. So he definitely had his best year of his career. He was banged up for quite a bit of the season, but he did have a solid year. Cam Reddish really improved from last season. He was in the most improved race. 12 points, about 5 rebounds on pretty solid efficiency. 44% from the field, 36% from three, and only 3 more minutes than last year. He averaged nearly 5 more points. Anthony Simons, we acquired him at the deadline. His numbers went way up compared to last year, but he only played 8 minutes per game from last season. So he is a player who's very similar to Darius Garland, who we obviously traded away at the deadline to New Orleans, which is a little bit awkward, but we'll try to make it work. Isaiah Thomas, acquired at the deadline. He had a really solid year for us, 8.5 points and 5 rebounds. He only played 1 minute with the Celtics, so all of those numbers are with us. Big Fatha, 15th overall pick, 8.5 points, 7.5 boards. He made the All-Rookie second team. Not much to complain about there. Will he be the starting center next year? Well, it depends on what we do in the offseason at the center position. Zeke Naji, we signed him towards the later part of the year, see what he was about, and he wasn't terrible. He has an 100% three-point percentage, so that's fun. I imagine he went 1 for 1, but we could still say that he went 100% from there. Cassius Winston, we acquired him at the deadline from the Wizards. He had 4 points, 2 assists, around 10 minutes per game, not anything crazy. And then Taco Fall, in 7 minutes of action, he averaged 3 and 2.5. And then Romeo Langford, Marc Gasol, Keelan Ofuller, Jacoby Bruce, they were all just there. So let's take a quick look at the league leaders. We're not going to spend too much time here. Luka Doncic, the MVP, led the league in points. I showed the MVP in all NBA teams at the end of last episode. I kind of wish I showed him again here, but oh well. Joel Embiid and Giannis with 15.3 and 15.2 rebounds per game, respectively. They were both very solid. 22 players with over 10 rebounds per game, only 1 player with over 10 assists per game, that being Dame Dalla. Damian Lillard, multiple guys close. There's Cassius Calvin in 17th, the number 1 pick. Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler lead in steals. DeAndre Ayton, Brook Lopez in blocks. Kawhi leads in turnovers. I'm kind of surprised it was not Harden. He finished in 6th. Zion shot 70% from the field. Michael Porter Jr. and Devin Booker with the highest 3-point percentages, and then Booker and Middleton from the free throw line shot 95%. So shout out to them. Let's simulate the playoffs. It's going to be annoying because I have every team usered. I finally figured out how to not control everybody. So I made that adjustment before next episode, which is the NBA draft, by the way. The Pelicans lost, so I suppose that's good for our draft pick. In the East, we have a few upsets as the Nets beat the Heat. And then the West, look at the Timberwolves, the 7 seed, advancing to the conference championship, and they're actually going to the finals against the Celtics. The reigning champion Atlanta Hawks are done. So here's a look at the Celtics. No Jaylen Brown. He is hurt. They have a few of our former guys, Udoka Azubuike and Romeo Luguancho, who we gave to them at the deadline. The Minnesota Timberwolves are fairly similar to what they were at the start. I'm surprised they made it, but hey, shout out to Cat, D'Lo, Anthony Edwards. So let's simulate it. It ended up going to 7 games, but the Boston Celtics have won the NBA Finals. So the Celtics are back to having more championships than the Lakers. Jason Tatum with 41 points here in a 43-point Game 7 win. Cat and D'Lo did all they could. Anthony Edwards actually got hurt. He got injured early in Game 6. Did not return and obviously did not play in Game 7. So had he played, maybe things would have been different, but it just looks like everybody in Boston was on their A game. So I don't know if Edwards would have made the difference or not. So now it is time for the offseason. Let's take a look at retirements. Got some guys like Tyson Chandler, Lou Will, Dwight Howard. Is he a Hall of Famer? Let me know in the comments. J.J. Barea, former Cleveland Cavalier legend. Isaiah Thomas, Matthew Dellavedova. Few interesting guys in here retiring. And then as we scroll to the bottom, some of the scrubs. I think a few former Jayhawks were in here. Frank Mason, Malik Newman. They're not scrubs, but everybody else is. Rex Kalaman and Gennaro Pargo retire as staff. Dwight Howard does make the Hall of Fame. I think he probably does deserve it. And the Magic will retire his number. For league meetings, I like to add one new rule every year. For this year's rule, I have decided to remove the Stepien rule. This is where you're not allowed to trade first-round picks in back-to-back years. So now teams can. This was put in place because the former Cavs GM back in like the 1980s traded all of his draft picks away. So I know some of the older Cavs fans might have some bad flashbacks of this, but I have decided to turn it off. So now it is time for the draft lottery. We had the 2nd and 12th best odds of getting the top pick. So that means in total, we have around a 15% shot, which is higher than any team here. Obviously, as you guys all know, the draft lottery always hates me. Every year, whenever we do a 2K franchise, we always go down in the lottery every single season. Let's see it this year. We actually get some luck. Welcome, everybody, to the 2022 NBA Draft Lottery. This is a life-changing night for the organizations here, the players ready to be drafted, and the fans of these teams who have been rooting for the tank all season long. Will their hopes and dreams be fulfilled? Let's get this underway. The 14th pick belongs to the Washington Wizards. The 13th pick belongs to the Oklahoma City Thunder via the Phoenix Suns. This pick was protected, and it will go to Oklahoma City. The 12th pick belongs to the San Antonio Spurs. This means that the Cleveland Cavaliers have jumped into the top 4, ladies and gentlemen, as the draft lottery curse finally ended. Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. The 11th pick belongs to the Atlanta Hawks via the Oklahoma City Thunder. The 10th pick belongs to the Houston Rockets. This means that the Philadelphia 76ers have moved into the top 4. Pandemonium so far tonight here in the lottery. The 9th pick will go to the Toronto Raptors. The 8th pick will be made by the Sacramento Kings. This means that the Detroit Pistons have now moved into the top 4. So now there's only one spot left in that top 4. Let's see who it will be. The 7th pick belongs to the Memphis Grizzlies. This means that the Indiana Pacers have moved into the top 4, and by default, the Cleveland Cavaliers get the 6th pick, and the New York Knicks get the 5th pick. So a lot to unpack here. This Memphis pick was actually protected. It was supposed to go to Utah. Utah was supposed to get a top 5 pick, but since it goes out of the top 5, it goes to the Grizzlies. I just cannot imagine how Jazz fans feel. Cleveland jumps down from 2 to 6, but luckily for the Cavs, they had that Lakers pick, which ends up going into the top 4 after all. And then the New York Knicks, who were projected to the first pick 2 years in a row, have fallen down to the 5th pick 2 years in a row. Knicks fans, I'm very sorry. So now it's all down to 4. The Cavs, the Sixers, the Pistons, and the Pacers. The 4th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft will be made by the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs were projected picks 2 and 12 tonight and end up with 4 and 6. Certainly an interesting night for the Cavs. The 3rd pick will be made by the Detroit Pistons. The 2nd pick will be made by the Philadelphia 76ers. And this means for the 2nd straight season, the Indiana Pacers will be picking number 1 overall. That will conclude tonight's draft lottery. Quite the day. And the draft will certainly be a spectacle. So the Cavs end up with 4 and 6. I'd be lying if I told you I saw this coming. So our actual pick falls, but the Lakers pick moves up. Now, at surface value, you're probably thinking, oh, we got super lucky. We move down to 4, but we get 6. But there are 2 generational prospects in this draft, being center Jeremiah Okoye and wing player Odavia Shepherd. Now the only way we get one of those guys is A, either moving up or hoping that 2 of these 3 teams at the top are complete idiots. Well, I guess the Pistons are idiots. This is coming from a Pistons fan, by the way, so I'm not some casual who knows nothing about the team. But, I mean, Indiana had the number 1 pick. They made the right choice last year, and I think Daryl Morey knows what he's doing in Philly, so I think the only way the Cavs get one of those guys is trade up. So now it is time to look for some new staff. We need an assistant GM. And we're going to fire head coach J.B. Bickerstaff. I think we can get someone better. And we're going to go after Chauncey Billups. No Pistons bias here. We're going to try to steal him away from the LA Clippers. Now, I am technically the user of the Clippers, but I'm going to automate this decision just so I don't have any impact. And the Clippers block us, so that's fun. The assistant GM we went after also declined, so we're going to go after Dylan Moore. And for head coach, we're going to go after Lionel Hollins. Hollins has a lot of experience as a head coach. I think he was last with the Brooklyn Nets. As Moore declines and Hollins is tentative, so I'm going to up the offer. I really want Lionel Hollins because I think he's the best guy here. And Dylan Moore, he doesn't have any offers. I don't know why he just flat out declined. So we're going to offer them again, and they both signed. So Dylan Moore and Lionel Hollins, welcome to the team. Now it is time for the draft combine. As let's take a quick look here at these numbers. Looks like Cassidy Spears, the guard from Duke, is probably the fastest player in the class. We took a deep dive at Cassidy Spears along with a lot of these prospects in the prospect profiles I've done this season. So if you want to learn more about some of these players, I have episodes in the playlist. I know the last 2 episodes I did prospect profiles, and then a couple episodes before I think I did as well. So you'll be able to see a lot of these top prospects and a lot of gems who we could look at in the late 1st, early 2nd round. We do have that Pelicans pick in the late 1st, so it's not like we just have 2 picks at the top. We actually have 6 picks total, 3 first-rounders and 3 second-rounders. Not that I plan on keeping all 6, but we do have them. The official numbers at the moment are 4, 6, and 26 in round 1. And then in round 2, we have 8, which would be 38, 55, and 59. So now it is time for the pre-draft workouts. We're mainly going to focus on guys at the top of the draft, going after the top 8 players here. We're also going to give an invite to TK Kabokeme, Mamadou Eneche-Onia, and Dexter Garrett. So those are the 11 players we will invite, and I don't really care about the other teams. The trainer says we should not draft Zario Papadopoulos because of an ankle injury. Papadopoulos is certainly a player we could look at pick 4, so that's a pretty big deal. Obviously, the top 2 guys here are Odavia Shepherd and Jeremiah Okoye. After them, it's probably Zario Papadopoulos and Vishawn Williams-Garber. So chances are if we stay at 4, the pick will be either Papadopoulos or Williams-Garber, unless somebody falls or we decide to go with somebody else like an Elijah Ejiofor or Farek Nawara. And we could look at these guys at pick 6. Remember, we have 2 picks in the top 6, which could also help us move up. hypothetically, we could package both of those picks to move up to 1 or 2. Maybe we only package one of those picks and a bunch of other draft assets. We have a lot of options here in this draft. So we could easily move up to one of those top 2 picks and get a guy like Jeremiah Okoye, O'Davious Shepherd, or unless we want Papadopoulos or Williams-Garber more. I do want to look at these mock drafts because A, I'm a mock draft nerd, and B, I want to see what the game thinks the other teams are going to do. So according to Draft Express, they have O'Davious Shepherd falling to 4. They have us getting James Smith at 6 and Molgak Momodia at 26. According to 2K, they have Shepherd going at 3. They have us getting Deshaun Williams-Garber and Ruiz Nicolos with our first 2 picks. And then with our third pick, they have us selecting Wolf Smith, who is the brother of James Smith. They all have Jeremiah Okoye and Zario Papadopoulos going 1 and 2. NBA.com has us getting Shepherd at 4, Alex Blackwell at pick 6, and Bailey Davison at 26. So a lot of different outcomes could come in this draft, but regardless, next episode might be the biggest of the series thus far. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.